We rolling? All right, man. This is an honor and a privilege to be sitting across next to this guy that I've known for decades now. But before I get into the history of me and Mike Crosby and how I met Mike Crosby and just the inspiration that Mike Crosby has definitely had on my career, if somebody was to ask, who is Mike Crosby, what would Mike Crosby say?
To be honest, I'd probably say I don't know. You know, he's just a young kid from Randallstown who, you know, fell in love with music at the age of 3.
Wow.
And that's where it all pretty much started.
You started DJing at the age of 3?
No, I started playing records at the age of 3. Gotcha. I didn't start DJing until I was 12 years old. Kind of like you and Boobie's story. Christmas, you know, I asked for 2 turntables and a mixer.
Same thing.
So, you know, it's like, well, I can afford 1 turntable and the mixer, or you get 2 turntables, and we had to wait on the mixer till the taxes come. So I said, well, just give me 1 turntable and a mixer. I had already had in my head, because my mother already had a Techniques BD 101, whatever it was called.
Belt drive.
with the pitch control.
I know exactly what so my father had the same turntable.
So I had 1 turntable, and I was like, Ma, can I use your turntable? And it helped her out because she ain't had to buy me a turntable. So Christmas, I was good. I just started from there. I never came out the house. I just stayed in there. I love hip hop. I would just mix the 2 same records, Roxanne, every day.
Wow.
Every day until I really learned how to blend. And then, like, I would go get cassette tapes, like Spin or Kid Capri, Ron G, and all them, and I would just bite their mixes until I made it perfect, until I could make it better.
That's crazy how so many DJs have that same story, because my story was Boobie. So I would buy DJ Boobie mixtapes, and I would literally be in the basement all day until I could mimic his scratch. I could mimic his acapella with the slow jam and the club track.
Right.
And then, of course, for people who don't know, you know, we are kind of intertwined by family.
Yes.
Rest in peace to my cousin Ray.
The Newkirks.
The Newkirks. Ray, y'all were best friends when in middle school or high school?
High school.
Actually,
yeah, we became, it was actually 4 of us, me, him, Sydney, and Paul. And me and Ray gravitated to each other. You know, we always hung out. He's my wingman, because, you know, a lot of people don't know that I'm shy. Like,
Mike Crosby shy?
Yes.
No.
I swear. And it's only one person in this world who really knew, and that's my stepmom. She pulled me to the side one day. She grabbed me by my coat. She was like, come here. I was like, yes. She said, you shy? And I just bust out laughing. Yeah, I'm shy, man. I was afraid to talk to girls, man.
That don't even sound like the Mike Crosby that I know.
But when you get that oil in the system, I become a different person, and then I can talk your head off. You know, sometimes a little bit too much.
It's all good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my introduction to Mike Crosby, when I first started DJing, my cousin Lisa and Ray would always say, you got to meet Mike Crosby. That's Ray's friend, and he's dope. So that you were on the radio at the time. And then 1994 going to 95, I started parties at the YWCA, and then it elevated me to Club Indigo.
Right.
I was there on Saturdays. Mike Crosby was there on Fridays or Sundays.
I don't remember.
I want to say y'all were there on Fridays.
Okay.
Either Fridays or Sundays, but I know I was there on Saturdays. And I remember opening up for you once on whatever night you were on. And I've been hearing about Mike Crosby, and then Mike Crosby walks in. It's crazy, because I can remember the first record you played was "Can You Feel It?"
That's my jam.
Feel it.
I still rock that.
And I had I had like the channels like midway, and you was like, "Why you gotta turn it down? You gotta turn it up so people can hear it." And then Mike Crosby pushes the channels up and turns the master volume down there in the red, and I was so nervous because I'm like, shit. Nigga, this is Mike Crosby. Like I was mesmerized. Like, oh shit, this is Mike Crosby. But then, fast forward, rest in peace, Big Tony. It's crazy because for people who might not know, it never was nothing serious. Big Tony started a little rivalry with us because I was at the time the hot boy Quicksilva, and you were Mike Crosby, the youngest in charge.
Yes.
And I remember like it was yesterday. Big Tony was on the mic on a Saturday. Remind you, Club Indigo, for people who don't know, me and Mike both played at this club, but just different nights.
Yes.
So
that was Sunday night.
So you was Sunday night, and I was Saturdays. You're right. So maybe my third or fourth week there, Big Tony gets on the mic, and I'm like, oh my God, this girl starts so much shit. She said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing to you the hot boy, DJ Quicksilva, the real youngest in charge. I said, oh God, oh, Lord, what the hell is Tony starting?
Nah.
But, so she started saying, this is the real youngest in charge, the real youngest in charge. And I'm like, well, she would have me and Mike Crosby beefing. And at the time, I idolized Mike Crosby. I'm like, I don't want to beef with Mike. Like, why you trying to put me against Mike? And it started a whole thing where people started like really saying, Quick, the youngest in charge. Did you ever feel like any type of way back then, like when it first happened?
You know what's really funny? Because you probably don't even know this, but Lavelle, Kelly,
Cold Sounds,
all them dudes is like, you know, because at the time, I ain't gonna front. At the time, I just felt like I was out of space. You know, nobody could touch me. I was walking around with a big ass head. Like, I was the shit. Couldn't nobody mess with me.
But you was, though.
They was like, nah, I wasn't. I was regular.
Nah.
So they was like, man, shit, we got this 14-year-old kid to fuck you up. I'm like, yo, who is y'all talking about? He was like, Quicksilva. I said, man, ain't nobody fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was carrying it. I ain't had no beef with you, but I was just like, yo, ain't nobody fucking with me. So then, like, as time went on, me and Tony got into a riff. And so that's when that came about. I remember that.
Yeah, the real youngest.
Because Tony started, because I wasn't putting Tony on my parties.
I remember, yeah.
So next thing you know, it just started rolling like a snowball, getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, man, I gotta go hear this dude. So I never wore hats. I always wore stocking caps. So
I remember.
I came down to Paradox. They were like, yeah, Quick gonna be down to Paradox. I put a baseball hat on. I didn't roll with my original crew. I just went and I just stayed in the corner. It was like people didn't even know who I was, you know, because I had my hat pulled all the way down. And they was like, you know, because you didn't come on right away. So I was like, all right. So he get ready to get on. I was like, all right, let me hear this dude play.
Right. They
so
gassing them up.
So I'm sitting there, right? I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden you just drop didnt. And I'm like, okay, all right, let me see if this boy can cut up and scratch a little bit like we be doing. So all of a sudden, you drop yo-yo with a hose at, and the whole place went crazy. I was like, I left out of there. I said, this motherfucker gonna be a problem. I said, he gonna be a problem. I gotta get back in the basement. But yeah, I was like, wow. You know, but I never carried that mentality against other DJs that I didn't like them or anything, because we had all in the same craft. I always had the mentality that there's enough money out there for everybody.
Facts.
I said, but I gotta make sure that I stay on top of my game, because he get ready to be a problem. I said, because not even the people who I was DJing with on a regular was bringing the heat like you brought. Like the Paradox was on fire for like, you had it on fire for like 2 hours straight, hands in the air, and the system in there is crazy.
That was the best system in Baltimore, probably in the history of Baltimore clubs.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Odell's, well, I wasn't old enough for Odell's.
Yeah, Odell's system was hitting.
Better than the Paradox?
I ain't gonna say better, but it was on the same level. Trust and believe. Yeah, right. That was it. So.
One thing you just touched on, you said back then your ego, and the stories. You know, the thank God there wasn't no social media back then. So thank the Lord. But like I've heard the stories, and I've never experienced it, because the Mike Crosby I know, genuine guy, good guy. I ain't never had no issues with Mike, but then you would hear the chatter. Yeah, Mike Crosby got an ego. Mike Crosby think he better than everybody else. And do you feel like that ever hurt you at a point in your career?
Most definitely, because I think it scared people away from dealing with me. Right. Because, you know, people, you know, they talk. And if, say for instance you, because I don't like talking in third parties, say for instance you, well, I want to hire this guy to do my party, but I heard his ego is this. He come with an entourage of black people, and you know they a little reckless too. So now we ain't gonna hire him. And I've heard it from several people. But once people get to know me, then they be like, "Yo, you're not how people say you are at all."
Yeah, I've definitely heard that about myself. Like people who don't know me, like, "Yeah, I heard Quick ego," and I'm like, "It ain't that I have an ego." But let me say this. all of us men in general, we all have some sort of ego and pride about ourselves.
Exactly.
And if you don't have ego, like that means you just maybe have low self-esteem or something.
Right, exactly.
So if anybody with high self-esteem, it's frowned upon by people who don't have high self-esteem.
Right.
One thing that I don't know, and this correct me because I've heard this story. Mike Crosby was so on fire right when Dru Hill got on fire. They hired Mike Crosby to be the DJ for Dru Hill, correct?
Well, what happened was it was a guy named Greg. The name of the production was Greg Harbortown.
Okay.
And I guess he was their quote unquote manager first.
Gotcha.
And like I went through many members of the group before the actual four got together. So we toured around first.
Gotcha.
So I never actually toured with Dru Hill. It was in '98. Kevin called me. Kevin Lyles called me.
Yep.
And he was like, he said, "What you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." He was like, "Well, I'm sitting here in the office with Cisco, and out of all the DJs, you know, he could have chose up here like Clue, Funk Master Flex and all them. He chose you. He wants you to go."
Makes sense.
And I'm be honest, Rod, to tell you, I told him no.
Really?
I told him no. Yeah, I told him no.
Why?
And because I didn't know. Like at that time, I didn't know like what I should be charging because I have never been on tour before. So I didn't know what I should be charging. I didn't know nothing. So he said, "Well, I'm gonna give you a day to think about it." So I said, "All right." So I called everybody in the industry that I knew. I was like, "Yo, how much you charge to be on tour?" So they gave me a number. So I was a little nervous about asking for this number. You know what I'm saying? So I called Kevin next day. I said, "All right, I'll go. This is what I need," you know. So he was like, "Bet, yeah, you got that." He said, "Listen, I got a flight for you because you got to pick up with them in Chicago."
Okay.
So I was like, "Well, I can't leave today." I said, "I got to tell my family bye. I got kids, you know." He said, "All right."
Tour life work, man. I've toured.
So I say, "Well, no, tomorrow." So I had to pack up everything, and this wasn't in Cerrado days, so you know crates. You got to carry crates,
the coffins. Come on, I remember.
So I had to pack up everything. They came and got me, and first stop was Chicago. So I flew out to Chicago. I didn't know I was gonna have to carry everything.
Wow.
You know, tour life for those who don't know, back in the day, it wasn't easy. Now it's easy just rolling with your backpack, but back then it wasn't easy.
Facts.
And sometimes you got two and three cities in one day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it got worse when the Thong song hit.
That's when Cisco was on fire.
And that's what I had enough.
So what happened? Like, so because the story I heard, and once again, this is when they say the chatter, the he say, we say.
Right.
It was like, Mike Crosby was on tour with Dru Hill, and then his ego got in the way, and Kevin Lyles sent him home.
Kevin didn't send me home. Kevin, me and Cisco manager got into it.
Okay.
Because I told him, they left me in the city.
Gotcha.
They left me. Like, and I was like, "Yo, how the fuck y'all gonna leave me?
Right. I'm the DJ.
You know, how y'all gonna leave me? You know." So when I got, we was in North Carolina. I'll never forget this. And his luggage was on the thing you wheel around. Right. So I was mad. I took his luggage and I just threw that shit off.
Cisco's?
Not Cisco.
Oh, the manager.
Kevin.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kevin.
No, me. Truth be told, I never hung around Cisco. I really didn't know him.
Right.
And then one day he pulled me up. He was like, "Yo, well, you know, we be partying at the hotel. Yo, you don't never come around." I was like, "Dude, I'm married." You know,
Right.
You know, at the time I was married. I said, I can't be around that riffraff.
Right.
So, you know, but I got to the hotel and I threw Kevin, I threw his luggage all over the place. Yo, because I was pissed, because that was like
it's funny to hear it now.
Because that was the second time that they done left me. They left me in Detroit in the hood.
God.
And it was a bouncer who used to bounce here from Baltimore, bounced at the we was actually at that night. He was like, "Mike, I got you. I'll take you back to the hotel." And I was like, "Yo, I've had enough." So next thing you know, I go home and then I ain't ever get a call back. But then the new album get ready to drop.
Right.
Now I'm with my friends in King's Dominion. They call me like, "Yo, where you at? We got to practice. You know, we got to do the BET Awards." I said, "Well, y'all just got the King's Dominion. Can we practice tomorrow?" They was like, "No, you know, we need you to practice today." I said, "Well, I'm not leaving King's Dominion So then that's when they called Reggie, and that's how Reggie ended up on there. But they called me back.
Wow.
So, but it was cool. I had enough anyway because I didn't get no help.
Gotcha. No, but I'm glad you got to tell your story because I'm sure not just myself, a lot of people over the last years, the story we got was, I think it was something like Mike wanted his own private car or something. like you know how shit get
no, this is what I asked for.
Kev was like, nigga, send him home. Yo, I'm like, what? That's the story we got.
This is what I asked for. Now I ain't on the front. I asked for, can I get a roadie to help me with my shit? Gotcha. That's all I ever asked for. Which is
not unreasonable, by the way.
And a coat. I asked for a coat.
What, like a Def Jam coat or something?
No, it was coat. Fucking freezing.
Just a coat.
Just a coat.
Oh.
And I'm like, yo, can I get a coat?
Wow.
And once again, my homeboy Rod made it happen.
Man.
You know, and I'm just like, yo, what is so hard? I'm out here with no coat. Pelly sending them niggas jackets every day. And everybody get a jacket but me.
But the DJ.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So that's what happened. I mean, I love Cisco to this day.
Of course.
I wish him nothing but success. But yeah, that was my experience. I was glad to have that experience too, because a lot of us don't get that experience.
Big facts.
You know, like when you first start DJing, your goal is to be on that big platform,
that big stage. And I'm like,
if you've never been on it, it's one platform to be on, and just, you know, go out there and just break bread with people, you know, get to know people and things of that nature. And that's all I try to do is meet different people.
I think only downside for me with tour life, and you can speak on this as well, and I know a lot of DJs that still tour, sometimes we get caught up in the hype thinking that we're the star, meaning that my first big tour, of course, you know, I DJ for Lil Mo, and our first big tour was the Rock the Mic tour. So right. I did 30 cities with Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Missy, Busta, and Lil Mo. And I'm the DJ on the whole tour.
Right.
So in your mind, you're living their life.
Yeah, hell
like this
yeah.
is not like we start thinking like, because you know, for 30 days I'm on tour with Jay and 50. So when whatever they get, I get.
Right.
But then the tour ends and now you're forced to go home and be regular.
Right.
And a lot of DJs, they can't turn it off because in their mind, because I tour with such and such,
right,
I'm them, and not knowing like they're the star. People are here to see them, not you.
Right.
Now, of course, since then the DJ has evolved, and it's a lot of dope DJs that artists allowed to be now a part of the tour where they get their own separate set.
Right.
But back when we was doing it, there wasn't no separate set. Like you play it for the artist. When they get off, you got off. You might have got one song before the artist came on to get that crowd hype.
Right.
But it wasn't no DJ doing no 15, 20 minute set.
Yeah, your name wasn't in the lights on the LED screens.
And it is now, but back then it was the artist.
Right.
Dru Hill, Rock the Mic.
Yeah.
And then we back there with our little records. So I had an instant replay when I was on the Rock the Mic tour. That's when instant replay came out. But if you're just tuning into the Quicksilva show, we're talking to my guy Mike Crosby. If I was to ask you, what club do you feel like made you like the guy? Like what was that? Like for me, I always say Indigo, then probably either Trilogies and Hammerjacks. That was like the birth of Quicksilva.
Okay.
What was the club that made Mike Crosby Mike Crosby?
Well, I don't know, because see, you know, and I don't know how to say this without, because I'm not conceited.
No, this podcast is not about humble. Like this, talk your shit, speak on it.
So what happened was Sean Marshall came in the Metros. He was like, man, what you doing on Sundays? I was like, I ain't doing nothing on Sundays. What's up? He said, yo, you want to play down Odell's with me? And I was like, hell yeah. So
that's crazy. I never even knew you played Odell's, by the way.
And I'm going to tell you why you ain't know. Because I would be there from open to close, and we would come in, Bird would be mixing, then Sean get on, and then they give me the last 15 minutes every Sunday. The last 15 minutes. In that time, I had to do something with it. So I would go through a whole crate of records in 15 minutes.
Makes sense.
And then people started to notice me. They started, and then I started jealousy from other DJs. Be like, yo, you ain't even know, like Sean, you don't know him. He don't know you. We've been knowing each other. We've been DJing for years.
That's I be.
And you know,
niggas in your ear.
How you gonna pick him?
Niggas in your ear. It's happened to all of us.
and I'm gonna tell you, I never got paid, not one Sunday night.
Wow.
But I paid my dues.
Definitely.
I paid my dues, and that's how I looked at it. That's just like with Sean Caesar, Mark Henry, Scotty B, Rob Braxton. When I would go to, when they would do the high school parties, all of us carrying our records in. This when with the Heckingers bags. You remember the cream Heckingers? We had our records in there, and we all come in together. Man, they would give me the last 15 minutes of every party, and I would try to burn it down.
That's so you don't have a club. You feel like once you became like Mike Crosby, this was your home every week somewhere.
It would be a toss up between Silver Shadows,
that's what I was thinking,
Volcanoes, or 32nd Street.
I would definitely say 32nd Street. When I think of Mike Crosby, like when I was like just looking at him like the guy.
Oh, but I can't forget about Indigo, because Indigo, that was 1-2. So.
I think of 30. When I think of Mike Crosby, I think 32nd Street. You ready for this? I think 32nd Street, and I honestly think Baltimore Live. Like you had and it's crazy,
but that was after all of that, though.
Right. But I'm just thinking like clubs that like Mike Crosby owned. Like when Mike Crosby,
I own Baltimore Live.
When Mike Crosby walked in Baltimore Live, no disrespect to any other DJs, including myself, nobody was rocking Baltimore Live. And I go ahead and say it because back then, let's be honest, and any DJ who watches this who gets offended, you're lying to yourself. All of us back then wasn't really making no money. So Indigo, I made $50 a night. Which is crazy, by the way, because they was on $50.
Well, you better call Lavelle and them up.
Every time I see Lavelle or Big Sam, I'm like, y'all know y'all pay me $50. But I was 14 and I was doing other shit, so I didn't care. But then when I got to Trilogies, I want to say I was making like $150. So the mark for most DJs back then, we was making anywhere from $100 to maybe $300 a party.
Right.
Mike Crosby. I remember it was like it was yesterday. Shout out to my man Ty Flex. I mean, Ty was like, yo, you know what Mike Crosby make? He said, yo, they paying him $500 to come do an hour. I said, no fucking way. They said, yo, Mike Crosby charged $500. I said, yo, we don't make that to do a whole party, and we got to bring our sound. You mean Mike, you really was making $500 a night back then?
Yeah.
You know, that's unheard of back then. Like now it's not, but right, in the 90s, you weren't getting no $500 from the party. How the hell did you start charging $500?
To be honest, I knew my worth. You know what I mean?
I thought I knew my worth. $150 was it.
But you know who really put me on about me knowing my worth?
Who?
What's his name? Metro, not Rafi. Coco.
Oh yeah, wow.
Coco, he was like, Mike, why you keep working for these people? They not paying you what you supposed to be getting. He said, they making all the money. You think about all the people that's paying to get at the door. You bringing out thousands of people to these shows on Sunday nights. They should be paying you. So I stuck with that mentality. And so when I got the call, I was like, yo, I need $500. And they paid it.
And that shows you the value and the impact that Mike Crosby had, because all of us DJs back then, we all had waves and we was on fire in our own little circles. But there's no way I could have told Lavelle or anybody back then I want $500.
I beg to differ. I think you could have, because if you would have left, the crowd would have left.
You're right. And the person who taught me the business, and I talked about this in the previous interview, was Frank Ski. Okay. Because Frank Ski, for me, he was the first one that I know as far as a DJ that was everything. So he was the DJ, the host, and the promoter. So he got the whole door, and he was in charge of paying everybody. And shout out to Frank. A lot of people might not know the club financially that changed my life was Hammerjacks on Sunday, because Frank told Louis, he's like, yo, you need to give Quicksilva the same deal you gave me. Because I was going to go in there wanting to like just charge the DJ at Hammerjacks. Right. People don't even know I got half of the door in Hammerjack. So you got to think, we was doing 3,000 people back then. Yeah. Half the door was mine. We was charging $20 to $40 on weekends. I bought my first house. I was 21 years old off of Hammerjacks.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I got to credit Frank Ski because I didn't even know he brokered the deal for me until after the fact. Because Louis, when he called me, this is when X1057 first came to market, right? And he was like, we want to do a live broadcast. We want Quicksilva. So Thea, my program, was like, yo, go talk to him. Y'all can negotiate your money. So in my mind, I was going to go down like, yo, give me $500. Cause that's what Mike called. I want 500. So, but he was like, "Hey man, I want to bring you in on Sundays, and you know, we can split the door."
You was like, "Oh shit, yeah.
Split the door." He's like, "Yeah, I'll cover security. We split the door 50-50." But he knew my value because back when you say you knowing your value, so that club changed my life. But back to Mike Crosby. How'd you end up getting on radio? How'd your radio journey happen?
All right, so I was what year Cross Colors come out?
Shit,
that was I was young, so that was before your time.
Definitely, I remember Cross Colors, but I was too young for that.
So what happened was, Greg Harbortown would throw these big high school reunions. These were high school, so he was out Painters Mill, and I never forget. And I was DJing out there, and Reggie came out there.
Reggie Reg, rest in peace, Reggie
Actually,
Reg.
a lot of stuff happened to me that night. So I'll start with the radio portion first. So Reggie came in, and he heard me DJing. So after it was all over, he came to me and said, "What's your name?" I was like, "Mike Crosby." He said, "I'm gonna get you on radio." And so I'm so used to people, you know, whatever, you know,
selling your dreams.
So all of a sudden, he called me one day. He's like, "Yo, I need you to make a mix for the 9 o'clock mix tonight." I said, "For real?" He was like, "Yeah." I went home, I bust out a tape, gave it to him. Russ Allen was the PD at the time.
Wow.
So then, matter of fact, this was in '94. It was in '94.
Indigo days.
So next thing you know, if anybody know Reggie, he lazy. He don't, you know, he ain't want to mix every day.
Rest in peace, Reggie.
He just want to run
facts.
the streets and, you know, just talk and, you know, be Reggie. So it became, I started doing like 2 tapes a week. So then it was summer jam time. So it was summer jam time, and Biggie was late.
Wow.
And Miss Tone, like Russ Allen came, "Biggie's late. We got to do something. He's 45 minutes out. We got to kill 45 minutes. What can we do?" And Miss Tony was like, "Well, I got my DJ. Well, he got his records." And Tony, "You got your records?" I said, "Yeah." Man, went out there and killed Summer Jam.
As you should.
And then Russ Allen grabbed me, pulled me by my shirt. And, you know, I was a little high. "Yo, what you doing?" Because I didn't know who he was at the time. He said, "Hey, you know, I'm Russ Allen, PD for 92Q. He said, "Can you come to my office tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, I can come," because I was already doing mixes for 2 years,
right. And he had no idea.
Well, no, he knew,
right.
But he, you know, you put a name with a face. So I went to his office, and then the next thing you know, he was like, "We got to create a show for you." And then I started on Saturday, 7 to 12.
I remember that, man. So, I remember listening to Mike Crosby, headed to Indigo, listening to Mike Crosby rock.
Yeah, and that's when it wasn't nothing thing about no hip hop. It was 5 hours of club music.
Facts.
You know,
a lot of DJs don't remember that. Like for some of the guys who just started DJing in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years. We played club music from open to close. You might have got what we call a hip hop set. And that hip hop set maybe been 15 minutes.
Scotty was the first DJ I ever heard play hip hop down at Godfrey's in the club setting.
Wow. First DJ I heard play hip hop in the club setting was Kenny K. Kenny K came to Indigo one night, and I want to say Mr. Cheeks was there or somebody. Okay. But they had Kenny K play, and I heard him play hip hop for like 2 hours straight, and I was mesmerized. I'm like, how does he do this? Because all we played I started mixing in 1990, and 94 is where I always say I credit my career. That's when Indigo started. But from 90 to maybe 98, 99, it was all, I didn't play any hip hop. Like at all.
Nah, like for instance, we got crates and crates of records. The crates be this long. We had this much hip hop.
Yeah,
and it was like, well, you know, Kenny really started with hip hop. So I said I had another story about that. That night also was the night I met Kenny. I knew, but Kenny was the house DJ at Painters Mill. Gotcha. Well, I ain't gonna say how I met him. This is how we became tight.
Gotcha.
So what happened was, you know, I had doubles of everything because I work at Metro. I come, you know, he's playing early, I close out. So I come in there, he using my records. So, you know, I come in there, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Yo,
this hot head Mike Crosby days.
Yeah, this Michael Jr. So, you know, I'm like, yo, so we get into it. So his crew come, my crew come, We about to fight. They break everything up. Everything cool. But Kenny is before his time. In case if you don't know him, he's before his time. So he did what a man should have did when they knew they was wrong. He came on Metro the next day.
That's dope with him.
And he just like, man, my bad. He apologized. So next thing you know, he came when I first got to work at 5 o'clock. Next thing it was 9 o'clock. He's still in there.
Just hanging.
Next thing you know, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We still together.
That's crazy.
And we've been thick as thieves ever since. You know what I mean?
That's dope, man.
So, like, that was a dope day because, a lot of people be like, y'all been friends and brothers that long? And, because a lot of people, they break up.
Facts.
Like EPMD, things like that. But, he knows how to conduct himself as a man. He's taught me a lot and how to conduct myself as a man.
And he's genuine, man. Kenny K is an all-around good guy.
And that's how, we have been able to sustain a relationship that we have because it's times where hot head, he'll be like, calm down. Like I say, he got this new thing I'm just learning he does, calm down.
Calm down, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, calm down. So that was a good night though.
That's super dope. You just tuned in, we're talking, of course, to Mike Crosby. Speaking of breakups, and once again, these are things that I don't know, but I've heard afar. I remember at one point, it was a Supreme Dream Team.
Yes.
And y'all were on fire. And I'm going to go ahead and say it because Kodak be on here soon. I was in my feelings because I didn't get picked for Supreme Dream Team. And in my mind, how you had an ego, I had a humongous ego. Man, I had Indigo. I had trilogies. I had the high schools on lock. Right. Like, I was the guy. This is recipes before Swift. So, like, I was the high school DJ. So, I'm like, how they going to start this whole DJ crew and don't bring me? So it was you, Conan, Rob, Braxton, all y'all. Right. And I'm like, how the hell I don't get picked for Supreme Dream Team? But then it looked like for a moment, Mike Crosby and Rob Braxton became like a duo. Like I would see y'all on parties. It was always hosted by Conan, music by Mike Crosby and Rob Braxton. Right. And then it stopped. Yeah. I don't know if you want to speak on it. Like, what happened with the? Because I feel like y'all were a duo at one point.
I just say it like this. Me and Raw had a falling out. It started with the whole $500 thing. Gotcha.
You making $500 and nobody else was by the time.
Because what happened was, I don't know what happened between him, Conan, and Adam, so I can't talk about that. Right. But him, Conan, and Adam they were doing Sunday nights.
Gotcha.
So they had a
Baltimore Live for anybody.
Yeah, Baltimore Live. Gotcha. So they must have had a falling out. And apparently, from what I heard, because I wasn't there, so I'm going to say allegedly that Rod asked for the same thing Mike was getting, and they was like, no.
Gotcha.
So that's where it all spiraled out of control. And then some other things happened that I cannot, talk about. But yeah, that's how that started right then and there.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we fast forward, Mike Crosby on fire in the streets, on fire in the clubs. One of the first DJs I know that was doing Columbia and Silver Shadows, and then that kind of almost made you spiral into DC PG County because you were playing go-go at Silver Shadows, which once again back then unheard of. I don't know if you remember this story. Shout to Neville. Because Neville,
that was my manager,
and he ended up managing me as well. So Neville, Neville, I gotta get you on here soon to tell your story. But I remember me and Neville, we were. I got booked to do Eastern Shore Homecoming. Yes. And Eastern Shore, for people who remember, it was like half Baltimore, half DC, PG County. So you had to play go-go. Yes. I didn't have any go-go, so he was like, yo, call Mike and see if he lets you hold some of his records. So I'm nervous because I've heard the stories. Oh, don't ask Mike, boy. These are stories I hear. He's like, no, he cool, man. Like, you sure, man? So I call Mike Crosby. I said, yo, I gotta do Eastern Shore Homecoming Saturday, yo, if you don't mind. Yo, can I borrow some of your go-go records? Little did I know, Mike said, I got you. I was like, oh shit, he's actually a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's not as mean like everybody say. So Mike Crosby let me borrow. I can't remember the record, but the record you gave me, it had like 4 or 5 different go-go records on it at one time. So you gave me like 5 different records, but those 5 records was like an hour worth of go-go.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if I ever gave you those records back.
Probably not.
Probably not. So I still owe you a go-go crate.
No, and look, listen, check this out. Everybody owe everybody records because we borrowed records from everybody back in the day and they ain't get them back. Especially when Doo Brown came out, that record got passed around worse than a woman getting money. I'm trying to tell you, because you know it was hard to find Doo Brown.
Facts.
So like when Sean would drop that, good God, I'm like, it would go crazy.
Then Mike Crosby, like, and you know, we can speak on it now because this is back in the day, allegedly. Yeah. Mike was like the ladies' man. Like,
oh, definitely.
When I say the ladies' man, like, pause, no homo, but like Mike had all the bitches. And like as a kid, you know, I'm 15, 16 watching this Mike Crosby guy who got tattoos on him. Like, all this was unheard of back then. Right now, everybody's doing it. And I'll credit Mike Crosby because Mike Crosby, there were a lot of dope DJs, but they didn't have like an image. Right. Like they all look the same, dress the same. Mike Crosby gets tatted up. His whole damn arms and stomach, on his neck, and so now Mike Crosby walking in the party with his no shirt on, fucking tattoos everywhere with a line of bitches. I'm like, God, I can't wait to be like Mike Crosby one day. This nigga got bitches. Like, do you feel like you being that ladies' man back then ever, like, did that hurt your career at all?
It ain't hurt my career, but it hurt my life trying to settle down with a woman. I'll tell you that much. Because even still to this day, I ain't gonna front, I ain't gonna hold you. You know, I think women are afraid to be with me because of my past. They heard the stories.
And Mike was the man. Like,
you know,
we're not gonna take detail. I remember coming to your bachelor party, and I was leaving it at that.
Hey, we gonna leave it at that. Hey, that's it. Whoa! Wait a minute.
Commercial break.
Yeah, commercial break.
I said, God, this is the life I want. God, please give me this life one day.
I can't believe this guy.
Allegedly, this is a long time ago, people.
That was in '97, so it's all good now. But
times change.
I ain't gonna lie, like it was hard for me to, you know, settle down because I can't talk to you. You fuck my girlfriend. You know, you fuck my cousin or my sister.
My mother.
I'm like,
my cousin fucked everybody back then.
I mean, it was hard back then, man. You just don't know, man. And just, it was bad. I mean, I ain't gonna say it was bad. I was bad. I ain't even gonna front. And you know who helped with it a lot? Ooh. That damn Miss Tony. Yeah. Tony got me all the women. I mean, don't come over here if you ain't gonna give them none.
Okay.
they be right there, man. I would come out of Baltimore Live at least almost every Sunday, yo, with a brick through my windshield.
Somebody that was mad at you.
Yep. Because I would take a different one. I would have one in the club that night, and then I'd go home or go to the hotel with somebody else.
The ladies' man, Mike Crosby. Fuck the youngest in charge. Your dick should have been the ladies' man, Mike Crosby. Yeah, but nah, like these are just dope stories that, like I say, a lot of people don't know.
Nah, they don't.
You know, people know the name Mike Crosby. Yeah. People have heard whatever rumors of Mike Crosby, but I think this was dope. And we got so much more we can touch on because, like, the history of Mike Crosby, you've been a staple. Not just in Baltimore, but in the industry. You've broken a lot of records for different artists. You've helped, whether they admit it or not, a lot of DJs' career. I think it's important to give you these flowers because
Thank you.
A lot of times we wait for something bad, somebody to die, or just something bad in general, like to say, oh yeah, Mike Crosby was this, man. That's not what I want this platform to be about. This platform is about giving people their flowers and just allowing them to tell their story. Not what people heard, but the truth from the person directly. Is there anything that you feel like you've heard about yourself that you want to clear up, like in any false anything?
To be honest, no. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I really don't care what people think. I don't care. Like, if you didn't hear from me or if you didn't see it or experience with me and you want to think that way, that's on you. You don't know me.
Facts.
So, nah, it's nothing I want to clear up.
I think that's dope. And, you know, I'd be remiss not to say this while we're here. I definitely want to send my prayers and condolences because I know you recently lost your son.
Yeah.
As a man who's a dad, you're stronger than me, bro. Because you still, I mean, I can't even imagine the moments you have when you're alone by yourself. But I couldn't. That's every parent's biggest fear.
Yeah.
And this is me asking you honestly as a friend, like how are you coping?
Well, I mean, you see now I'm tearing up now, but
and that's
it's
fine,
all
man.
good.
That's fine.
For me, I wish this pain on no parent at all, because it's like I thought burying my mom was gonna be like the worst thing that could ever happen. Mm-hmm. But then when it comes to your kids, that's a pain that it's crazy. Like I find myself staring out my bedroom window like every day, just hoping he just appear in the window, and I just can't. I'm not over it, and I probably will never be over it.
Man,
but I wish it on nobody.
I mean, that's every parent's biggest fears. And when I heard about it, of course, I reached out to you then.
Yes, you did. I appreciate that. But I knew you would,
right, because
of a conversation we had out. What is it, Rundle Mills? I never forget. You asked. You was like, "Yo, can you meet me out here? I want to meet with you about something." Mm-hmm. And before we even got started in the meeting, you said, family was everything to you. You was like, you wanted your kids to grow up with their mother and their father, and you expressed how much you loved them. And that really stuck with me, because even though I had kids, I didn't have the mentality that you had. Right. Because I got a wife and kids. I'm still, still doing that. But when you said that to me, it like a light bulb clicked. I was like, well, maybe I should be more like that. And I'm taking this from a younger person who I should be telling him how to be. He's telling me how to be. And I really respected that.
No, I did.
And then I see how you raising your kids, you and your wife. I mean, I love looking at that. That's what you notice. I always comment on y'all little posts and stuff, because I'm like, yo, I'm proud of you. I tell you every chance I get, I always say I'm proud of you.
Facts.
I can see you in the supermarket or in the hallway at the station. I'll be like, yo, I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
And a lot of people won't do that. It's like they're too ashamed to give nobody their props and stuff. But no, I give you your props, man. You doing it.
No, I appreciate it, man.
You really
I came up under good tutelage. I always say, what I did as a youngin', because I was so young getting into business, I took bits and pieces from everybody. Okay. So, I took pieces from Mike Crosby, from DJ Booby, from Frank Ski, from Sean Caesar, and I created my own. It's crazy. I wanted to work in a record store because Booby and Mike Crosby work in the record store, and y'all were the people that I was idolizing as a kid. And to me, it was like, you had to work in a record store to be a dope.
But DJ. You never came to my record store.
I worked. So I was in the city. You were Metro too.
No, I was Metro.
Metro at Mondawmin.
Yeah, the original.
So you was at Metro. You probably remember. So I started the Inner City Records on Monument Street with Ty Flex. Okay. And then when I became manager, they sent me at Mondawmin. And the city was 3 doors down from Metro.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I ended up. I would buy my records from back then. Bernie was the man, so I wanted to go to a Technique store, because you felt like a DJ going there, going through them crates.
And that's what I miss about DJing. You know what I'm saying? Going to the record store, getting up early on Saturday, trying to beat all the other DJs to the stores. Yep. Going to DC, going to New York, going to Philly, calling out Cali to get, like, these DJs today don't understand what we had to do to get records, to break records.
Facts.
And I think that's why we stood out back then and got the names that we got. Because I don't think, the way DJing is going now, nobody will have that big name like back in the day, like we were having. Because everybody, I'm not gonna sit here and say everybody's playing the same thing, but pretty much everybody's playing the same thing. It's just how they say it or how they bring it in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Facts. Well, Mike Crosby, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all that you mean to the DJ community. In real life, as I say, you one of them ones, man. Like,
thank you.
Mike Crosby, you definitely paved the way for a lot of DJs, including myself. And I'm glad to know that the youngest in charge beef didn't last.
No.
we beefed for like one day, y'all. No. Then we got cool. We good. But
all right, we'll say we beef for one day. One day.
But from then on, it been nothing but love, man. Yeah, and once again, I want to say thank you to you, because of course I know Ray was your friend, but that was my cousin. Yeah. So just seeing you at Ray, man, that. When you were up there and said some words, man, you spoke from your heart. Yeah, and I think that's another thing that always kept Quicksilva and Mike Crosby locked, because we really had family. So I say I commend you, brother, and keep up the good work, man. If there's anything else you want to plug or mention while you're here, the floor is yours, man.
New Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
Yeah, New Year's Eve at the Renaissance Hotel. I expect to see each and every one of y'all there.
Y'all still, what was the name of the party y'all used to do?
NYE 2026.
Gotcha. That's you. Who else?
Me, Tons, and Kenny.
Gotcha. Shout out to Tons and Kenny K. Y'all definitely gonna get y'all in here because they definitely got a story as well. I know Kenny not gonna talk a lot.
No, Kenny, we do. Me and Kenny do. When you, it's funny because you hit me yesterday. We were filming Live for No Damn Reason.
Oh wow, that's super dope.
So we're about to start our podcast as well.
Plug that.
For Live for No. Well, everybody know Live for No Damn Reason.
Gotcha.
I mean, we get on there, we drink, we cut up, we interact with everybody on Facebook, trying to get everybody to meet everybody as we go along. When they scroll on the timeline, we shout out, other people read, then they get to talking to them,
dope.
Things like that. So that's been like very successful. When we opened our store in Security in 2015, we started that 2017, and it's been going strong ever since. And every time we do it, our DMs are just blowing up. Man, y'all gonna start this damn podcast? Y'all been saying it.
Dope.
So it's coming.
Oh,
I called this guy. He ain't hit me back though, but that's a different story, Larry.
Oh man, so go ahead and call him out on the podcast.
Yeah,
get caught up on the podcast.
Because I was like, yo, we got to do this documentary because we want to do a documentary first.
Okay.
Because like, man, we could sit here for about 8 hours.
Yeah, it's so much stuff we ain't talking about.
I was like, I don't know how hour we gonna get, but that's why I ain't really say nothing. I'll let you just lead because I was like, yo, we not gonna be able to get. Because there's so much stuff.
Like, it's so much history with us. Like I say, we literally can be here for another part 2 of like stuff. I mean, just thinking about record store days, just thinking about party days and ups and downs of both of our lives, careers.
We lived it real life.
In real life, man.
And in real time, too.
Yeah, Mike Crosby's definitely one of the ones. I salute you, my brother, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
Love you, man.
Thank you. I love you more, man.
You know what it is, the Quicksilva Show.